Hi everyone, it's Stephanie Nash here from Inkspire Me. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have a beautiful card for you featuring the Timeless Tulips stamp set from the mini catalog. It is a photopolymer stamp set containing 15 different stamps. It's great for spring, for Easter, for Mother's Day, for Get Well, Just Because, even sympathy cards. So I thought it would be fun to put this together with you today. I'm also going to be using the Basket Weave 3D embossing folder and the stitched shape dies for a die cutting machine, and we are using the smallest square, the next size up, and then the second smallest size oval. The colors we are using today are Whisper White, Blushing Bride, and Crumb Cake. And the ribbon we are going to use is the new crinkled seam binding ribbon in Whisper White. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side and just pull in our supplies. So the base of our card is 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and it is folded in half to become 5.5 by 4.25. And we are going to use it in a landscape position. Now I have already gone ahead and cut the pieces for simplicity. So this is Blushing Bride cardstock, and it measures 2 inches by 5.25 inches to give us that nice 1/8 of an inch mat across the bottom. Next we have Crumb Cake, and this piece I have already gone ahead and embossed. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, using the Basket Weave die, and this piece measures 1.75 inches by 5 inches. So the first thing we want to do once you've gone ahead and embossed your piece of Crumb Cake is to adhere that to your Blushing Bride. Now I still have fast fuse, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. But I do find with the 3D embossing folders that snail isn't quite strong enough to adhere the pieces. So I would recommend tear and tape for this particular card if you have that on you. If not, snail will work, just you might need to use a little bit more than you normally would. Now, once you have that adhered, the next step we want to do is adhere the ribbon. So I have gone ahead and already tied a bow. And you can see that it's slightly off-centered, that there's longer on the right side than there is on the left. And that's because I want the bow to be off-center on the card. So what I'm going to do, now you can go ahead and wrap this all the way around and then tie your bow if you don't want to do what I've done here, but I find this saves a little bit of ribbon. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back side and adhere the ends. And then once that's on, we're going to go ahead and adhere this whole thing right to the card base. And again, we want to make that 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And go ahead and press that down firmly. So the next thing we want to do is we actually want to start stamping. So I'm just going to put the base aside. So previously I cut out 3 of these squares using Whisper White, and we are going to stamp on those squares using 2 of the tulip images. So the first one is the bud image. Again, these are photopolymer stamps, so you can see exactly where you're stamping. The next image we're using is the medium size bloom. There are 3 different size blooms in the stamp set. So we have the bud, which we're using, the medium size, and then of course there's the large, but for this project, we're just using the 2. And we're going to stamp 2 of the bud and then 1 of the medium size. So I'm going to pull out my Blushing Bride ink. Just going to stamp those on there. There we go. And then we're going to do 1 of the medium. What I love about photopolymer stamps is you can see where you are stamping. so that I can see it fits within my square. Now, before we adhere those to our base, we want to mount the medium-sized bud on the next size of the mat. So again, it's the next size square, so the third smallest or the second largest square from the kit, and we are just going to adhere using our snail or tear and tape or glue, whichever you fancy in terms of your adhesive. We just want to make sure that's centered as best as possible. And then we are going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere the flowers to the card base. And I always like to start with the larger image because that's the one that we want to have centered. And then you can place your other two buds on either side. And what I do is I try to line up the flowers or the squares using the bottom edge so that they all are somewhat level, and that looks good. Looks like equal distance. So I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals on there. And we're going to stick that to our base. Like so. And then dimensionals on each of our buds. And I'm only using one dimensionals on each of these, but you could probably use 2 or 3. It just depends on your personal preference. Nice push. There we go. So there we have our buds all down on the card. It looks cute as it is, but of course a card isn't complete without some sort of sentiment. So next what I've done is, still using the stitch shape dies, I have cut 2 ovals, one in Whisper White and one in Blushing Bride, but they are the same size. And what we're going to do when we adhere them is we're going to offset them just a little bit to get that hint of Blushing Bride peeking out. But of course we want to stamp our sentiment first. So I'm going to stamp our sentiment in Crumb Cake ink. And we are using the What a Beautiful Difference One Single Life Makes sentiment. And there we are. I'm just going to close that up and get it out of the way. All right. So now I know we're going to layer it off to the top left, so that's where I'm going to put my adhesive. You just want to layer as much as you feel looks good. And then once you've got that on there, we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals once again to adhere our oval to the card base. Oops. And we want to put that about there. Just give it a push. And there we have it. A quick and easy card. The hardest part, or the most time consuming part, is going to be your die cuts. But for the sake of this video, I had them pre-cut for us. So again, you could use a different sentiment. There is several to choose from in this stamp set, or perhaps you have a different stamp set in mind, but this would make a great Mother's Day card, a Get Well Soon card, something for Easter or spring. Sympathy, it really is a versatile card and versatile stamp set. I hope you've enjoyed this project. Be sure to check out the comment section for a complete list of the supplies that I used here today. Be sure to share my video, and thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, everyone.